Hey, how's everybody doing? Brother Phil here. Wanted to come on and share a word with you guys. I'd like to welcome you out to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Let me do something right quick. Hopefully that works. So I entitled this video, Remember Lot's Wife. I wanted to make it longer, but I decided to not do that. We know the situation that's going on right now. Attention has been brought to the world of a possibility of a Jesus return for his church, and even the unbeliever has been put on notice. In a way, God is merciful to give even the unbeliever heads up, because remember, God wished that no man should perish but come to repentance. So remember Lot's wife. Jesus gave a illustration about the end times in Luke 17. And we are not to get caught up in the affairs of this life. I mean, you got to pay your bills, you got to go to work, you got to support your family. But there's a such thing as doing what you're supposed to do, and there's a such thing as overkill. So when judgment started to fall, Lot's wife and their two daughters, along with Lot, left the city, and the judgment came. But before that, there were warnings. So God had a dialogue with Abraham. He says there's 50 righteous, and there's 45 righteous, 40 righteous, going all the way down to 10. I don't remember the increments or were 5 or 10, but he went all the way down to 10. He says, if there was 10 righteous, I would not destroy the city. So getting to the point of our current situation, we have been warned. I believe that the world has, as much as people think that message was false, we have been warned. You have been warned. Hey, babe, see you later. We have been warned. And I think no one will be left without a witness. Now, there is a key thing in the Bible where it says, do not let anyone steal your reward. What does that mean? Well, we get to that in a minute. So, it is easy right now to get caught up in the storm. Remember, Jesus told Peter to come and walk on the water. Well, actually, Peter asked, can I walk on the water? He says, come, you can walk. And the storm started, the wind started blowing, and the winds got really high. And Peter started to take his eyes off the prize, and he started to sink. There is a way to take your eyes off the prize. In Luke 21, later on in the chapter, Jesus told the disciples, and he's talking to anyone who comes from the disciples, meaning the church or messianic Jews. He said, pray that you can escape the things that are coming upon the earth, and to be able to stand before the Son of Man. So Jesus mentioned earlier in that chapter, he says, do not be overcharged for surfeiting, partying, and the cares of this life, that this day should overtake you as a thief. So it is easy to get caught up in the riffraff of the affairs of this life, of the current events that is happening now. It is easy to be a person who has no will to understand Bible prophecy, to get caught up in the affairs of this life, and it catches them by surprise. So where are we now on God's time clock in relevance to understanding what is going on? Seems like a lot of confusion, and it's people picking sides. And I don't think a lot of people want to get caught with the people who are date setting. So the people who are date setting, they call date setting at least, are the people who technically is trying to bring some urgency into people in this world, or people in their sphere of influence. They're trying to get some urgency in these people. And the urgency that they're trying to do is they're trying to get people to understand that time is short. Now, the Bible does say that this day should not overtake you as a thief, meaning the day is a particular day that God has ordained probably since the foundation of the world. It's not just any day. It's going to be a special day. And you're going to get a warning. But this time you're not really getting on the ark, or physically getting on the ark, or you're not physically leaving the city. And almost to a point, even though you got brothers and sisters, you're actually by yourself, and you have to make that decision. Each individual will have to make a decision to get on a spiritual ark before the door shuts. And there's a possibility to get suckered either way, or for this case, there's plenty of ways. For instance, when people say it is a revival because of Charlie Kirk, and they're saying, well, the revival's coming because of what happened, and all the Christians are coming together, and did you see the funeral service, or the memorial service, and oh, it seems like revival is headed this way. And is revival really headed this way, or is the world that clueless when it comes to the gospel? I know some of y'all want to sock me through the camera, but what is the gospel? Because the gospel that is worldwide is not the gospel that's taught by the Bible. So much is given, much is required. What is in your Bible is different from what you hear on the pulpits on Sunday mornings. So all they're doing is repeating the same torque that most famous pastors preach. The Bible says Jesus himself is the speaker. He says, if they speak well of you, be leery. Billy Grahams of the world are popular. Chuck Swindoll's of the world are popular. Charles Stanley's of the world are very popular. But the gospel does not get you to heaven, because they do not preach to stop the sin. They preach to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And this is not popular. This is why I say remember Lot's wife. And technically, Lot's wife can be summed up today with getting distracted, looking back at how things were and wishing things could get better, which is not a crime in and of itself. But every time every 4 years come along and we have a major election, they think that this election is the most important election ever. Seems to be the echo every 4 years. But I don't see any significant changes. And I'm 56 years old. And since I can remember the first election that I was interested in, things probably at the most were taken for granted because America was blessed by God, because, you know, there was some type of a remnant left in this country. But the point is that a lot of people kind of look in the wrong directions, or they look in the right directions, but they don't realize that everything else is already tainted in the first place. So Lot's wife left the city, and she went on, and she turned around and turned to a pillar of salt. So someone will probably say, well, we all should be ready. We always should be ready for Christ's return. Yeah, we should always be ready for his return, but we also should be ready for death. But as I said before on my broadcast, and I'll say it again, the gospel is far different than the gospel that you hear Sunday. I don't know about your church, but I think the majority of the churches I've visited in the past 15 to 20 years believe that you can't lose your salvation. Now, if you stay close to God, you can't lose your salvation. But if you get far away from God, you can. That's why he gave the parable of the prodigal son. Please tell me, give me the reason why he would give that parable. And some people would just say, oh, the love of God. The merciful, reckless love of God. But you still got to define, what did the father say when the son was away? My son was dead. When he come back, my son is alive. So when you leave God, you're dead. And when you come back, you're alive. The closer you stay to God, therefore you will not lose your salvation. But there's always a possibility of losing your salvation. That's why you have a Bible. That's why you have to stay in prayer. That's why he told you, Ephesians chapter 6. That's why you have an enemy. That's why the devil fooled Eve in the garden. That's why the devil fooled most of the Israelites. That's why the devil continued to fool Saul, the king of Israel. That's why he fooled Cain against Abel. See, I can see it now. It's so much going on. You have TikTokers on making mockery out of God's people. At least they're looking. See, the thing is that these people say, well, you're going to turn people away. You're going to turn people away. I say this, I think we're close enough not to even be concerned about a day. You probably want to slap me, but I've always said that he would come back on a future Feast of Trumpets. Regardless, I don't know about the calendar switching and all that stuff, but yeah, if the calendars are switched, yeah, if he's still coming back on a future Feast of Trumpets or a close Feast of Trumpets. And the thing is, a lot of people are going to be caught off guard, unawares. They're not going to see it coming. But see, at least Lot's son-in-laws could have believed him and could have left the city with him, along with the whole posse of people. But what happened to all the people? Somebody could have got on the ark. The ark was big enough to still hold some people. Why didn't anybody get on the ark? See, it's foolishness. You're fool, Lot, thinking the city is going to burn up? Are you serious? Abraham really told you that? The angel really came by your house? Of course y'all know the angel came by the house because you guys were standing in front of the door trying to get them to come out. And Noah. Noah, they probably laughed him to scorn. If they were in our modern day, they'd probably be doing TikTok videos. They probably be doing skits with Muppets. Walking down the street, I missed the rapture, I missed the ark. I didn't get on the ark, making fun. Until they went into the ark and shut the door, and they're locked out. Well, it's coming, and it might be more sensitive than you think. I think if you read the Bible, he says, I'll cut you the portion with the unbelievers, the hypocrites and the unbelievers, for there be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That evil servant began to beat the other servants because they thought the Lord delayed his coming. I think they didn't think that, yeah. Well, the key to this, though, is this. When you read Matthew 24:45, he says something key. Those people were looking for the rapture too. Or else he would not say that the evil servant would not say, my Lord has delayed his coming. You see what I'm saying? So they must have been watchmen too. They must have been watching too. But they thought that probably, it wasn't a designated day or something like that. And just like it is now. They think, well, date setting, they're setting the date. Now they, people found a new date. Oh man, they really gonna get on this one. My Lord has delayed his coming. I'm going to go ahead and beat up the servants. What they're saying is, these people say, I told you there's no date setting. I told you you can't tell the day and hour. No man knows the day and hour. And shaming the people for about 2 weeks until they go into the ark and the door is shut. Now, the people who are claiming that Jesus Christ is coming back, including myself, people don't divide it. They're not dividing it up. They kind of think it's us against them. They kind of think that the wise and the foolish virgins are people who want to go and people who don't want to go. No, the wise and the foolish are trying to get to the bridegroom. I don't know why people don't get that. I'm not the smartest cookie in the world. So I don't know why they don't understand that both of them are trying to get in to the door, trying to get into they trying to meet the bridegroom. They just happened to 5 had oil, 5 didn't. And then when the bridegroom coming, they went when the bridegroom was on his way, they went and tried to get some oil, but they couldn't get it. It's too late. By the time they got back, couldn't get it. I think that might be a terminology to say that I don't know if they actually finding out why they didn't go. Maybe that's the thing is they went away and they really didn't find out why they didn't get in it. And then they didn't realize it's a doctrinal issue. That's why you hear a lot of the churches say, I don't want to hear any of that doctrine or doo-doo, or they'll say something like the parables are not doctrine, or they say it's Paul we listen to, we don't listen to Jesus, or vice versa. We listen to Jesus, we don't listen to Paul. And all you're doing is confusing people, ever learning and never coming to the knowledge of the truth, for real. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's built into the scenario, it takes, God makes it that way so we can research a matter. We can research it, we can figure it out. He has, a little piece here, a little piece there. He has some of us can figure this out, another person figures that out, and everybody pieces it together. And eventually, it's all going to come out where we understand. Well, some of us understand. So a lot of people believe that, making a mockery, and they don't pay attention. You never hear any of the people that's making a mockery, or the scoffers and the mockers saying, "Oh, I hope we're not like 2 Peter chapter 3. I hope that's not me, but I'm just have to, I have to just tell you guys because I love you." You know how people always try to apologize. So, I'm pretty sure they'll find out that they are 2 Peter chapter 3, but is that when they get to be judged by Jesus and he tells them, "You are a mocker and a scoffer." So one of the groups is right and one of them's wrong. Are we wrong for looking for Christ's return? He says, "I'm coming back for those who eagerly wait for me." But he also says, "I'm giving them a crown of righteousness to those who are waiting for me." Now, what does that mean? That means they're getting ready, getting their hearts right, getting their wear right, their outfit right, their clothing right. It says in Isaiah chapter 1, I believe, it says, "Though your suit is like crimson red, I'll make it white as snow." But some folks think because it's crimson red, you can just keep getting it crimson red. Oh, I roll over in the dirt in the backyard and return to my vomit and come back out again. And it'd be dirty, so God can keep cleaning it, and then he gets dirty again, and God cleaning it and gets dirty again. So there's a way you can remember Lot's wife plenty of ways. So the message that I bring is a message of no apology. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not on here to tell everybody they're going to hell in 2 seconds, like fire and brimstone pastor, but I am on here to tell you the truth. And I get the plank out of my eye before I get the speck out of yours. Or I'll get the 2 planks out of my eye before I get the 5 planks out of yours, or vice versa. But I don't intend to have any planks in my eye right now as I talk to you, because my conscience is too strong. I won't come on here if I have something dealing with. But who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I believe that. I believe that God sets us free. So there are many ways as Lot's wife looks back. There's many ways to look back. A lot of times you can have a change of heart when it comes to doctrine. You can think 1 minute one way and you think it's your advantage to change, and you end up changing in the wrong way because somebody else influenced you. Is that something you want to find out when you stand in front of God, that, oh man, I had the right answer first and then I changed it? So when I say remember Lot's wife, it can be just looking back with no preparation because you're too busy making jokes and laughing at the ones who date set and making skits and stuff, thinking you're going to be ready to go, but you're not. Or, looking back can mean you got a career or something, or you're looking for retirement more than you're looking for Christ's return. Or you got busyness, you're taking trips and you're doing this and you're doing that. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the news right now with Britain having to get their, they're making it mandatory to have to get national ID cards, and it's your driver's license. It's just a matter of time for the United States to decide that if they haven't already decided it. I mean, different countries are doing that. They're coming to the conclusion. I mean, they're probably going to do it before the end of this year. I think it's already locked in the barrel. It's just a matter of things, the right situation for this, or the wrong situation, or however you want to look at it, coming in, and them being able to change it overnight. The rapture of the church would do that easy. And then Jesus says, he says, don't be overcharged for surfing and riding and partying and the cares of this life, that day should overtake you as a thief. He says it'll come as a trap on the world. I believe this one guy has a channel. I'm not going to tell you the name, but somebody made a carbon copy. I think that's been happening a lot to YouTubers especially. And as I'm in the chat room, as I'm in, on social media, I noticed that we're having more issues with people, in the chat rooms. And I don't think it's people, I think it's bots. And we're having trouble with, people coming in to the chat room and saying things that don't make any sense. So I'm thinking we are at war right now, because it's gotten worse. And a lot of people, even some of the people that's not Christian, have been complaining about what's in the chat rooms. So that's my only problem with going live with YouTube, is what's in the chat room. What do I have to monitor the chat room? Can I just speak live without having, I guess you can set off the chat room and do it by, that, and make that your default. It's fun to talk to people, but at the same time, you get to a point where you turn on, I guess, depends on what day it is, like Saturday, definitely, you have some stragglers coming in, and that has nothing to do with Bible prophecy. They just want to be jerks and come into your chat room for no apparent reason. They think it's funny. And then you got other times where I think it's a bot. They just say hi and that's it, and then they'll say something else, and then they'll say something really stupid, and they were just setting it up for it to say that. But anyway, God bless you guys. I want to keep it short, and keep keeping these videos as short as I can. But yeah, I'll do some long ones once in a while. But God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. See y'all later.